Hi, my name is Casey McMullen, and my presentation is on social work and genetics, with a focus on prenatal genetic services. Differences between this population and others. I focused on 2 points here. Women and couples who receive prenatal testing are in a unique position where the potential results of the conducted tests affect not only those who are tested, but also shed light on the mental and physical health outcomes of their unborn baby. And the weight of these test results at times can result in very impactful decision making that are influenced by several personal factors aside from the diagnosis itself. So the difference here for this population versus others are that there are a myriad of layers, including financial, cultural, and spiritual factors that play into the decision making after the testing has concluded. There's also significance in the ethics of the recommendations provided by professionals to the clients receiving the testing. These professionals must work in favor of the health and quality of life of both the client and the unborn baby. So there is also significance in, just to rephrase that there is significance in the professionalism and the knowledge and the education and the training and all of the above for the professional care team that's working with each client. Challenges specific to this specialty: keeping up with new developments and connections between science and social work. Social workers who are working in the overall field of genetics must stay current with the developments in the connection between genes and how they contribute to mental health. The more knowledgeable we are in assessing potential disorders, the more effectively and accurately we can treat them. From our text, Gellert and Brown state, as scientists identify genes linked to stigmatized disorders, such as mental illness and addiction, or personality traits such as aggression and anxiety, the ability to identify genetic predispositions comes with a potent ethical, social, and personal cost. A second challenge that I've listed is post-decision mental health support. So after a person is presented with a poor or fetal diagnosis, that there might be suggestions from the genetic physician to terminate the pregnancy, or the care team may advise for the client to proceed if that's what's in the best interest of the client and if that is what the client wants to do. There needs to be support after the testing and the diagnosis have concluded. So when a client makes a decision based on a poor fetal diagnosis, it is important to factor in the support that they will need after they decide. And there is a potential for emotional and physical trauma that the care team and social worker must prepare to guide the client through and provide supportive resources where needed. How does a social worker prepare to address the needs of this specialty or population? Research and resource awareness. The social worker should have a good baseline knowledge of each client's history. Helpful information that a social worker may gather before meeting with their client would be the client's interpersonal relationships. What is their family like? What kind of support do they have or not have? Does the client have any cultural or religious background and beliefs that may hold importance and carry weight in their decision making? How will the social worker work with their client to create a plan that is in the best interest of the client's health, both mentally, physically, and spiritually? Communication and cohesiveness with the care team. The social worker's best course of action is to have a close and communicative working relationship with the care team. Social workers are not thoroughly trained in genetics, but they must have the knowledge and resources to work on a team that will be counseling clients in this area. So the social worker they have skills that would benefit any team, but working in a team that specifically specializes in genetic work and prenatal testing, the social worker must be well versed in baseline knowledge on potential disorders that may come up and so forth. Resources for the social worker, as I just previously stated and will restate now, a solid understanding of the diagnosis of the client, effective communication and supporting documentation from the physician and additional members of the care team, which may include the genetic counselor, the nutritionist, the psychologist, etc., to give the social worker a full picture and a better plan of action. If the social worker is working alone with this client, you can see how if there's no conversation with the physician or there's a missing piece of information that may be helpful from the genetic counselor, the social worker doesn't get the full picture, and then their treatment is not as effective as it could be. The social worker also needs to establish connections with other organizations and care providers in the community, organizations that provide financial assistance for medical needs or testing, religious organizations that may be of benefit to someone who has a spiritual or religious belief that help guide them through their decisions, that might also serve as a source of support for them through this process. Psychotherapy and the need that they need to be referred out for more intensive treatment, and medical follow-up for further testing, if there's further diagnostic testing based on what the client receives initially. Just having those resources at an arm's length, the social worker should have these resources to give to the client. Additionally, organizations that are advocating for access to healthcare or better healthcare in communities that are low income or that are disproportionately affected by genetic, environmental factors. Gellert and Brown elaborate a little bit on this, stating social workers must partner with community groups and advocates to enhance confidence in skeptical communities when quality services are available that can lead to early detection, treatment, and prevention of life-threatening disease. Potential client resource needs. During and after the testing process, the client may need a variety of resources that may not be easily accessible. So this kind of covers what I've just touched on, and possible resources might include financial assistance programs that pay for testing or treatment, physical health and mental health follow-up care, potential for the need for individual, family, marital counseling for people going through prenatal testing that might have children already who may feel affected by the results or the outcome of the parents potentially terminating a pregnancy or going through with a pregnancy that would result in a child with special needs. Support groups for bereavement, or support groups that include parents who are in similar positions to the parents who have received the diagnosis from that testing. Distinguishing myself as the social worker from others on the care team and beyond. As a social worker in genetics, I would begin each meeting with my new client by clarifying my role as their advocate, as a resource, and as an accessible contact throughout their testing process, diagnosis, and aftercare. I would promote a sense of trust, safety, and comfort, and encourage clients to ask whatever questions that come to mind so that all bases are covered, but also to acknowledge that each client's needs, situation, and diagnosis is different. Treating each client as an individual, because every person is truly different. Although there are similar diagnoses, each person comes from a different community, a different cultural background, a different religious background, and so forth. As I would gain experience in this role, I would continue to research the resources that I rely on to help my clients and ensure that I also have a sense of trust in both my work and the work of those who I refer my client to. So just staying current on what's available in the community and feeling confident in the resources that I give to my clients so that my work is also reputable, and just keeping the lines of communication open with those organizations in the community. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.